Hey there, Gloria Day. Pastor Chris here. Glad to be with you this Thursday. Actually, whenever you're watching this, it's great that you've been able to join along with us as we're studying through the New Testament together. Today, we are into the Christmas story, Luke chapter 2. So Merry Christmas to all of you and God's blessings, of course. But as we look at Luke 2, there are a number of things going on behind the scenes that are really important to pay attention to. In Luke 1, we heard about the story of Zechariah and Elizabeth and Mary and the angel Gabriel, and Gabriel visiting each of those people along the way, announcing good news about Jesus' birth to them. And the scenes really happen either in their homes or, in the case of Zechariah, in the temple. The temple was a critical piece of the story of ancient Israel. It was a big part of people's worship life. And so all of the scenes there really sort of highlight the grandeur of the Jewish faith at the time, the Hebrew faith at the time. So in chapter 2, we kind of hear a little bit more about kind of the grandeur of the time, especially as we're introduced to the Emperor Augustus and Quirinius, who is the governor of Syria. The emperor calls for a census to be taken, a registration to happen. And so Joseph and Mary, they travel back to from Nazareth to Bethlehem, and as they make their way, Jesus is born. We're told in verses 6 and 7 of chapter 2, while they were there, the time came for Mary to deliver her child, and she gave birth to her firstborn son, and wrapped him in bands of cloth, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. So we hear about Joseph and Mary going kind of to this backwater town of Bethlehem, but it's set in the context of the emperor and the governor of the regions around, these kind of grand figures in the time. And then we zoom in on this lowly couple, Joseph and Mary, who are being visited by the grandeur and the glory of God in the person of Jesus. And the first people to get the news about the birth of Jesus are not the emperor, not the governor, not even the priests in the temples. Instead, the first people to get the news of Jesus being born are shepherds. In verse 8 of chapter 2, it says, "In that region there were shepherds living in the fields, keeping watch over their flock by night. Then an angel of the Lord stood before them. The glory of the Lord shone around them, and they were terrified. But the angel said to them, 'Do not be afraid, for see, I am bringing you good news of great joy for all the people. To you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, who is the Messiah, the Lord.'" To me, it's incredible that we are given this glimpse into the glory of God coming in the person of Jesus, but the first people to get the news are not the emperor, not the governor, not the priests, not in the place of the temple, but these lowly shepherds out there on the farm. Our family, about a year ago, moved to a small acreage south of Sioux Falls, and we call it our farm. And we have chickens and turkeys and all kinds of animals to the menagerie of animals that we have. And it's funny for me to think about how the glory of God came to these shepherds out there in the fields where they were living. When you think about this Christmas story, this Christmas season, it's not that God shows up in places of grandeur. It's not that God shows up in the important people. God happens to show up in these young simple couple, Mary and Joseph. And the good news about Jesus comes first to these lowly shepherds out there in the field. As you think about this Christmas season and you think about what God is up to in your life, maybe you want to think about how God is showing up in those small and seemingly insignificant places. The places that are forgotten, the people that are forgotten. Maybe God is showing up in someone in need around you. Keep your eyes open for where God is showing up in the lowly, the small, and the insignificant, because that's where God truly promises to be. Thanks so much for joining me, and again, Merry Christmas to you all. We have one more Thursday video to make it to Christmas, and so I hope you continue to join us with that, and then we'll enter into the church season of Christmas and, of course, Epiphany after that. Continue along with us as we read through the New Testament and we stay fully engaged together. Thanks, and God bless.